What's up, everyone? Welcome to the April 5th edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. We have a huge 12-game NBA slate. It is early April, so there's probably going to be a lot of dumb things that happen between now and lock that we aren't expecting right now. So as always, be sure to tune in to the deeper dive and live before lock in the 2 hours leading up until tip on the Awesemo YouTube channel. But for now, we're going to take a look at 5 of the top tournament options using the Boom Bust tool on Awesemo.com. Starting at number 5, Kevin Love has a $5,700 price tag tonight. The Cavs are taking on the Orlando Magic in a favorable matchup. Love has been really frustrating from a fantasy standpoint recently. He's just not playing as many minutes as at least I expected him to. I think most people expected him to without Evan Mobley and without Jared Allen. But if you're looking for a positive, if you're looking for some silver lining there, we also haven't really seen Love play particularly well in the games without them either. I find it hard to believe that if Love is knocking down shots and playing well, that he's not going to get 26 or 27 minutes. He's only $5,700. He averages well over a fantasy point per minute. He has a good matchup against Orlando. Only projected for 5% ownership with an 8% chance of being in the optimal lineup. At least the way things look right now, where we don't have a ton of good value today, finding some mid-range guys that have massive ceilings like Kevin Love is a pretty appealing way to approach tournaments. Number 4, Kevin Durant, $11,600 price tag, small forward and power forward eligible on DraftKings. Durant is only projected for 8% ownership. We have him with a 9% chance of being in the optimal lineup. I personally think it's a little bit higher than that, given how many minutes Durant has been playing recently. But even using that 9% number, a little bit under owned, very, very favorable matchup tonight against the Houston Rockets. The biggest concern here would be that Brooklyn just destroys Houston at home and that Durant doesn't need to play 39, 40, 41 minutes. But Brooklyn's not very good. Kevin Durant obviously is great. Kyrie Irving is very good. Beyond that, Brooklyn doesn't have a lot. So it's not crazy to think that maybe Houston can hang in this game at least enough to make the Brooklyn guys need to play full minutes. Durant's has averaged 39 to 40 minutes per game over his last 5. Brooklyn needs wins. If this game's competitive, you're probably getting 42, 43 minutes from Durant if it really comes down to the wire. So I think expecting 38 to 39 minutes from Durant, who's averaged about 1.4 DraftKings points per minute without Harden and with Kyrie this year, is pretty reasonable. And he's just not getting much ownership. Also working in his favor is that he is a forward, so you don't have quite as much opportunity cost as you do at the center position or at the guard positions where some of the other top end pay-up options are tonight. Number 3, Pascal Siakam, $9,400 price tag, power forward and center eligible. Currently projected for about 5% ownership with a 9% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Siakam is someone else that, Toronto is still looking to win games. This is likely to be a competitive game against Atlanta. The Raptors are only favored by 4 points. If this game goes down to the wire, you could easily get 41 or 42 minutes from Siakam. On average, I expect around 39 minutes, and that's still pretty appealing at a $9,400 price tag, especially for as long as there isn't glaring value all over the slate, which is the case for right now. Number 2, Isaiah Roby, $6,800 price tag, power forward and center eligible, projected for about 5% ownership with a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. The price tag has come up on Roby, but he also has an excellent matchup tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. Portland is essentially a G League team that just gives up fantasy points to everyone. Roby is around the point per minute fantasy producer this year, likely to give you 30 to 32 minutes tonight, barring foul trouble. One thing that could throw a wrench into things for OKC is they did add 2 more players on 10-day contracts. I don't anticipate that having a huge impact on somebody like Isaiah Roby or somebody like Alexei Pokusevsky. I think it probably has a bigger impact on the fringe guys for OKC, but there is a non-zero chance that you just get a really wacky OKC rotation and you don't get as many minutes as you would like from Roby. But at 5% ownership against the Portland Trailblazers, I'm willing to find out. Number 1, Moses Brown, $4,800 price tag, only projected for 8% ownership with a 12% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Brown is center only on DraftKings, so it does increase the opportunity cost. There's a very strong mid-range of centers. There's 2 elite centers at the top in Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. So it's not like you can just jam Brown into every lineup. I understand why he's not getting a ton of ownership, but I do think he's going a little underrepresented here, given that he only played about 20 minutes in his last game, but He dealt with first half foul trouble. He dealt with second half foul trouble. We've actually seen his playing time ramp up in competitive games. When he first moved into the starting lineup, I fully expected him to be playing 20 to 22 minutes and Kevin Love to be playing 26 to 28 behind them. That really has not been the case as he has played well with Cleveland. We could see him get 28 to 30 minutes tonight if he plays well against Orlando, which is certainly possible. And he's well over a fantasy point per minute guy. I think he's still pretty clearly underpriced at 4,800 tonight, and the numbers in the boom bust tool reflect that. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on DraftKings, the way things currently stand: number 5, Kevin Love; number 4, Kevin Durant; number 3, Pascal Siakam; number 2, Isaiah Roby; and number 1, Moses Brown.